We're just going to go straight to him.
Don't leave this man waiting.
No, can't leave him waiting. Busy guy. 4-0 weekend. Proud to announce national champion winning coach of the LSU Fighting Tigers, Coach Jay Johnson. Coach, I appreciate you coming on.
What's up, guys? How you doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good.
Coach, you go 4-0 this weekend. This is the second or third straight weekend where you are playing a series against multiple teams, right? Which is kind of a unique situation that doesn't usually happen. I know we had spoke about this a couple weeks ago. Was this by design? You said yes. After getting through these first three series, what have you learned about your team? And has it been something that has pleasantly surprised you, or something that you kind of expected to happen?
Yeah, I think our players have done a good job. I think it's been a unique schedule, as you talked about, where you're playing multiple teams throughout a week. Taxing, on the coaching staff relative to scouting reports, all that. But I think it's a good exercise because that's how it goes in the NCAA tournament. As far as our team, I think we came out of this weekend with a lot better understanding of our pathway to winning baseball, and that if they commit to it and commit to it pitch to pitch, inning to inning, game to game, there's definitely a roadmap for this team to be successful. And my hope is that we draw a lot of confidence from the week, and that's important because as we move forward in the schedule, obviously it's going to be a lot of great challenges in front of us and really exciting. But good job by our team this week in Houston.
Coach, it was a challenging weekend. Obviously, Texas was undefeated. Not undefeated. They're ranked 15th in the country. You play UL, who obviously UL always wants to beat LSU, and Texas State had a winning record going in. They were the team that can score some runs, and they were going to pose a challenge. You switched up the rotation this weekend. Luke Hullman has been fantastic the first two outings, and then he comes in on Friday and probably puts out his best outing maybe of his career Friday night against Texas. You are facing their ace. What have you seen from Luke as the beginning of the season throughout the first three starts of the season?
Yeah, Luke's just a great pitcher. He has a number of ways that he can beat you, and if you plan or take away one thing, he can beat you another way, and that's certainly a good quality to have. And he throws strikes with all his pitches. He commands his fastball in and out, up and down. Breaking ball is good. I can land it for a strike in any count. I thought all our pitchers did a good job of that this weekend. Even when we were behind in the count, they could throw any pitch they wanted to for strikes, and made them very difficult to deal with. And I thought Luke set the good tone that all our pitchers did this weekend, which is when we got ahead, we finished people off. And he certainly had a good performance on Friday.
Coach, we've mentioned the way you've gone about the schedule so far, the 3 weeks in a row, 4 games. You've done a masterful job of mixing and putting different lineups in there and getting guys in different situations. But we all know with that comes the opportunity either of success and or failure. With what the way that this thing has gone so far, how do you think the guys have taken to the in and out, up and down, and how they move and how they go about their work, and how have they been able to implement that into the game and kind of move straight forward all at the same time?
Yeah, I think they worked very well moving into the season. I've said this before. We had a great preseason practice session. And then I think that we did a good job, the first couple of weeks of winning some games while we weren't quite right yet. And that's just, you guys know, that's just baseball. Yeah. It's just not going to be perfect. I think we were exposed a little bit and went back to the drawing board, collectively. This is not just an individual player thing, but collectively, offensively, and the results of that have been pretty good, since that we've done that. I think I have no feel in the best way possible of, how I'm using the parts in a negative fashion. I think everybody's ready to play every game. I think they've done a great job supporting each other. I think some of our players, it actually helps them to rest on a particular day. Yeah. And I think there's a couple guys we've gotten better performances, after maybe a day that they weren't starting. And, we have some very good versatility. We set the lineup yesterday specifically for a reason and, paid off with 19 hits and those guys did a good job. And, you know, I mean, we've had guys hitting the 4-hole one day and not play the next day. Guys hit the 3-hole one day, not play the next day. Guys hit 9th, hit 3rd. So they're doing a good job, and I haven't gotten any negative feedback. The only thing that I wish is there's a few more guys I'd like to get more at bats for and get on the field, but it's tough when there's only 9 spots in the order.
Coach, before we run to the jump to the offense, because there's a lot I want to talk about, because there's a lot of guys that have done some things and made some adjustments from the year before. I want to hit on Gavin Griggs just for a second, because the way you utilize him is very similar to the way big league teams use their best reliever, right? And you don't necessarily use him in the closing role all the time. You use him as a, hey, get me out of trouble guy, right? Whether it's the 4th inning, 7th inning, 9th inning, whatever it is. He did that again this weekend. You're starting to grin. Can you speak a little bit about Gavin Griggs and what he means to this pitching or to this pitching staff?
Yeah, no, I just was reminded of something yesterday that happened when I brought him in the game. I'll go back to Saturday. So we brought him in, I believe it was the 6th inning, and they hit the 3-run homer previously. And kind of, even though we were ahead 4-0, it felt like they got the momentum. And he snatched it right back. Like he punched out like 3 of the next 4 guys and put it right back in our dugout. And he's done that so often that, you know, he's such a valuable pitcher, and he's at his best on game day. And, you know, some days he'll close. He closed last Saturday. Some days we'll put him in, you know, when we need him the most. And that just happened to be at that time on Saturday night. And then on yesterday, I think I had the formula down where we had to win by 5 runs to win the tournament. And after the 2-out single, it was now at 5 runs, and the runner on second base would have scored. They would have won the tournament. So I was trying to get the game over with more than anything else. And I said, hey, you see that dude out there at second base? I go, if he scores, Vanderbilt wins the tournament. If he stays there, we win the tournament. And he goes, well, let's go pick up our trophy then. And,
I'm sure he said it just that.
I love that.
I like that.
You need that guy. You need that guy on the mound with that mentality, no doubt. I love that.
Hey, I'm loving that you got a guy like that breeds the confidence that he should be able to put into the rest of the roster. But for you yourself and obviously the coaching staff, it's one thing to have a bunch of guys that I kind of have some confidence in how they go about their work, and it's another totally different thing when the confidence matches the stuff and the bevy of stuff that you have throughout this entire roster. What kind of comfort and confidence does that bring to you when it comes to, hey, how am I going to go about filling out these innings to get outs right now when you can look at a bullpen full of guys like you have right now?
Yeah, and it's a great point. And that was kind of one of our steps as a team this week. I mean, we do a ton of physical work. We do a ton of mental training. We try to put them in the right frame of mind. But this week it was just about, hey, like, this is just about getting it done. Like, I'm going to out-compete you in this moment. Like, let's get there, because that's where your confidence, you know, truly shows. And I thought our pitching staff, our whole team did, but I thought our pitching staff in particular this weekend really shined, you know, with that mindset. You know, obviously mentioned Luke earlier, Gage, Thatcher, great starting pitching throughout the Kate Anderson on Wednesday. So great starting pitching all week. And then our bullpen has dominated this year of getting the first guy out when they come in. And you can't do that unless you're totally prepared and ready to pitch and ready to compete and ready to win. And sometimes as competitors, you guys know that it's not even necessarily about an approach or plan. It's like, no, I'm going to get this done right now, period. You know, with my focus and my intent. And I think our team did a good job of that this weekend.
Coach, switching gears to the offense, there's a couple guys that are coming into this year that you really had to count on, right? Like, you lose a lot of guys from the offense last year that banged some balls out of the ballpark. This weekend, obviously, y'all scored a ton of runs. Y'all got a bunch of hits, but y'all did it without – y'all hit some homers, but it wasn't like you're hitting 4 or 5 home runs a game and you're scoring a bunch of runs. You were stringing together some hits. You knew going into the season y'all were going to score runs a little bit differently. How would you grade the offensive performance this week based off of, you know, hey, we're going to string together hits, we're going to put together tough at-bats, and, you know, they scored a bunch of runs?
Yeah, really good point again. And I would give us really good marks. I thought I'm looking at everything. So I'll go back to Wednesday night. I thought the first inning at Wrights wasn't good. I mean, like Paxton struck out. I think Milam hit a single, Tommy hit into a double play. And it was like, hey, wait a minute. Like, we just let this dude do what we just said we weren't going to let him do. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And then boom, 3 runs are on the board. And then it's 5, and then we score 16. So they got the message there. And then Friday night, I mean, that's a top 5 to 10 pitcher in the country in LeBaron Johnson. And I mean, those dudes ran professional at bats. I mean, I had a really high up baseball person, text me on Saturday morning, like that was an absolute master class in how you beat an ace. And that made me proud because I thought our guys did a great job against him. Because we felt like in that game, going back to it, one advantage we had was the bullpen. And so we knew Luke was going to give us a good start. We knew their guy was going to be tough. So we have to just make it tough on him until we can score. And we were able to do that in the 4th inning. So we didn't score in the first 3 innings, but the first 3 innings from my chair could not have gone any better, unless maybe you got a 2-out hit and pushed one across. So I thought that was great. And then we did a good job against their bullpen, big home run by Tommy, big home run by Jared Jones to stretch that lead, which ended up being important because they were able to score or scratch a couple runs across late.
Yeah, Coach.
And then,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, sorry.
You go.
Saturday, UL's pitcher did a nice job, and we weren't squaring him up a ton early. But again, same story. We walked 6 times, and he was out of the game in the 5th inning, and we popped a 4-run inning in the 5th inning. And that's going to happen, and that'll happen in the SEC a lot as you face really good pitchers. So I thought he did a good job with a few things. I think there's some next level adjustments we can make to be a little better against a similar type guy next time around, but they did a good job. And then the key in that game was Travinsky's a 2-out, 2 RBI, 2 strikes on a tough slider against a guy that hadn't given up much all year. And then Jones drove him in, with 2 outs to extend the lead there to 4-0. And then we got another homer by Hayden, who I thought had a great weekend. And then Sunday was great. We knew what we needed to do going in. It took us one time through the order to kind of get settled. But, 19 hits, a lot of low liners. I thought our 2-out hitting runner in scoring position was awesome. And I bring that up because nobody ever mentions it when it's awesome. They only mention it when you don't get them.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's supposed to happen when they do it.
What's that?
I said it's supposed to happen when they do it. That's the thought, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's usually coming from people that have never swung a bat. It's
easy.
Apparently, when it's 2 strikes, you get a tennis racket to hit.
It's very easy to do that.
Yeah, so I just think we showed we can win a lot of ways, and that's a really, really good thing.
Coach, before Jay has a couple questions, before I get to him, I want to bring up Paxton because the beginning of the season started. People who haven't really swung a bat are looking at it. Oh man, first week in the season, he didn't have a great weekend. Pressing the panic button.
Why isn't he Dylan Cruz?
What's that?
Why isn't he Dylan Cruz?
Right. Oh, you're supposed to be this good, but he is great and he is good. And you're watching the maturation of him as a hitter. At least in my eyes, he's getting on base at a high clip. He's putting together really good swings. It kind of seems like he's starting to find his way in the lineup. And then another guy who we're going to speak to in about 15 minutes is Jared Jones, right? You talked about some of the adjustments that he was working on. He's talked about some of the adjustments he's been working on. He looks like a monster at the plate right now, and he comes up with some huge hits through the course of the first 3 weekends. Can you speak a little bit on both of those guys? Because those are 2 guys that you're trying to count on when the season started.
Yeah, first off, I love those guys. I mean, they're a blast to coach. They have so much upper end ability, and I'm really thankful that I get to coach them and, push them. And it's not always easy or feel good all the time, but they're so talented that just as long as they continue to play and continue to be open to what they need to do to improve and develop, which they both have been, they're both going to be great, and I think we're seeing that. I think I don't even know what his line was Friday, but I think Friday was the best game Paxton has played at LSU. I thought he hit a huge hit in there, but took 5 really, really good at bats, set the tone with a great lead off at bat against LeBaron Johnson, stole second base. He played excellent defensive center field all weekend long. Huge hit yesterday with the bases loaded to give us a little bit of separation. And then with Jared, I'm super proud of his openness, ability to get coached. And, he's a tougher one just from a standpoint of like everybody can see his potential as soon as he steps in the box. I mean, it's about as physical looking college baseball player as there is. So he gets pitched differently. So he has to have this balance of being patient, knowing he's going to get pitched differently, but always be ready for that mistake pitch and anticipate that it's coming right then and there. I think what you saw on Friday is him at his best, driving the ball with authority the other way. Did it twice with a triple and a homer. I think just as impressive were his takes and the pitches that he laid off of this weekend. Yeah. And I think that's been an awesome trend and certainly good for us. And they're both great players. They're great human beings. I love working with them and, really excited about having them here and where we're headed with that.
Coach, over the history for yourself, as long as you've watched LSU baseball, you obviously know how special it is. Getting to coach here finally, it's a blessing to be able to play in the box and have people pack it the way it does. It's a luxury to be able to take that team on the road and you get to go to a place like, as Lloyd would call it, the juice box, to be able to play a series like that in front of a crowd like that before you start the SEC slate. Can you talk a little bit about how big that is in the preparation of getting those guys used to what they're going to get on the road and or more, and obviously beyond the SEC as it is as well?
Yeah, I think it was awesome. It felt like Omaha, frankly. And I might have even been Jared. Me and one of the players were having a conversation about that. Like, what a great opportunity for our players that weren't on our team last year, right, that didn't get to experience, like our fans in an environment like that, which the only place I saw that was the College World Series. And what a great night that was. And just the maturity that our team played with, the at-bats that they took against an ace, the quality defense, the quality pitching that we got, the poise, the composure, doing it in front of all those people. I mean, that's something to be noted. And it's a good sign for our team, because you guys know the best players, they love that type of stuff. Yep. And they almost step up a little bit. And I thought our team did that and handled it great. And I think it will be very beneficial, when, go on the road in the SEC play here. The first couple weekends are at two of the most fun places to play in terms of fan, crowd, environment, all those types of things. So really, really beneficial for our team. And I thought we handled that really, really well.
Coach, you obviously you speak to the environment, and then you have Justin Lower, a transfer that comes in a big high leverage situation against ULL, and then you have your first magic moment. My magic moment is for you with the first let's fucking go of the year when you run into it, when you get it going in the juice box after a huge save. I just wondered, was there a little bit of an impetus on that to okay, the season's finally here, boys, let's get going a little bit. You got a little bit of juice in the juice box for a new transfer. That's a great moment for him. I just wanted you to speak on that a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you know that's what he said, Lloyd?
Well, they bleep out one word. Yeah, they bleep out one word.
Yeah, I'm just not just saying, hey, I'm gonna run into the huddle and get all fired up. That's gotta come out the right way.
It felt organic.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. With Justin, he's a really good pitcher. Our hitters tell me all the time, and I'm always asking them who are the toughest guys to face, and his name comes up a lot. And he's done it. He's had success, and he cares immensely. He's one of my favorite players on the team, just from the sense of how much he cares, how intense he is about it. He's at the field all the time, sometimes for no reason. Just because he's a baseball guy and loves baseball, and he's got a great personality and wants to win and cares a lot and is a really good teammate. And very thankful to have him. And, it was a good step. He was great, I thought, our first weekend. He pitched in two times where we really needed him to come through, and he did. And then had a little bit of speed bump last weekend. I thought he was just a little bit tired, maybe because for 2 weeks leading into the season and the first three appearances, we used him a lot. Had a good week off. I thought he looked fresh. I thought he looked sharp, and really, really made some great pitches there, the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
And I got the go-ahead for one more. I noticed against Texas State early, you got a little contentious, a little back and forth with the umpires, and I was just wondering what caused it because Brady Neal's he's on the on-deck circle, and he gets flagged for coming out too soon to give a high five. I thought that was a good moment for you to be able, because there's this thing going on with college baseball where they're putting the clamps down on player emotion. I feel like that's what college baseball is all about. So I just wondered kind of how you were feeling going into that moment. It was that people wanted to see it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, not a lot of sleep, a lot of scouting reports. I get it. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, no. So there was something happened in the second inning, and one of their players said something into our dugout, and then I'm like, our dugout, it should be the best place to be anywhere. Like that's what my feeling of the dugout should be, and it's our 4th game there in 5 days. But these guys had no let up in terms of their enthusiasm and energy, and they're supporting Thatcher, they're supporting our offense, and then the umpires called and said, hey man, they got to keep it in check. I'm like, what are you talking about? This should be the best place to be in the entire country is in our dugout, and these guys are having fun. Like, what are you even referring to? And they couldn't even really tell me. So then they brought me back out there again, and it was like, I get the whole sportsmanship thing, and we certainly want to be with class and all that, but it's like, come on, man, just call balls and strikes and safe and out, and let these guys enjoy
they struggle with that
being
too.
here because they do. And so they gave us some parameters on some things that were supposed to be said and that are not supposed to be said, which I won't get into too heavily. I thought our guys played with great energy, and I thought it was a little ticky-tack to try to squash that. So that's why I was a little upset.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. It's got to be – there's the chirping part, if you do it the right way, is part of the game, right? Both teams do it. That's the way it works. It kind of gives you a little bit more edge. It's fun. That's what you're supposed to do. Coach, I appreciate you. One more question before you go. Well, not really one more, but I want to kind of spin back a little bit to the offense. You talk about the depth, and I don't think people realize how hard it is to be able to get guys in the lineup at the rate that you're getting in the lineup, because there's only 9 guys that can play offensively every game. But it feels like you're playing 15 guys a game, and that's not the reality, but you are doing it, and you look up and you're like, damn, Brady Neal's got the start, Travinci's got the start, Milazzo's got the start. I know you want to get Larson more at-bats, but he's got more at-bats than I even thought he had. It's just like you have all these guys and you have all this talent, and the way that – how do you manage to be able to playing time, right? Because you want to be able to get these guys to develop, and I can't imagine that you're going to have a set lineup, maybe till the end of the year. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I tell people this all the time. So last year in Game 71, in the final game of a 5-year career, we had somebody bat leadoff that had never batted leadoff his entire college career. So that tells you how fluid things can be with me. But really, it's about this. It's number one, we need to win the game. That's always going to come number one. Number two, we want to put players in position to be successful, which helps us to lead to win the game. Number three, I want to develop all these guys. I want to have the best team that we can this year, and that's first and foremost. I just am very honest with them. All the decisions that are made are what's best for LSU baseball in 2024. With that in mind, I'm super pumped about the young players that we have on our team. Yeah. We just talked about how much Paxton and Jared are developing, and will continue to develop as they continue to play. I mean, there's a few guys this year that are in that same boat, that are going to be really good for us. And it's exciting, and I want to get them in and use all of their talents. And, there's a lot of roles out there, and there's a few of them that would probably play every pitch of every inning at 280 of the 300 Division I schools right now, and I love the fact that they're here. And they have great leadership. They have great team camaraderie. Everybody pulls for each other. And it really hasn't been a problem, only other than for me of man, I really would like so-and-so to get more at-bats, or I really would not want to take this other guy out. Right. It's we won a national championship largely because of Josh Pearson hitting a homer and making a great play in left field. And I mean, we played 12 games. He's started 9 of the 12, you know, and I mean, why would I ever want to take Josh Pearson out? You know what I mean? But this is what I think's been best for right now, and it's probably going to go that way, you know, for a while. And there's even guys, you know, Zeb Riddell, you mentioned Ashton Larson, Ryan Kucherak, Ethan Fry, those guys, I'd be just fine if we were starting any one of those or all of those guys, and wouldn't expect us to play any differently. So it's just something I look at all the time.
Yeah, that's a blessing and a curse, I think. You know, obviously it's good to have
Blessing. I will never say.
Yeah, blessing. Curse is probably the wrong word. You're right.
You're talking to a player, coach.
Here's the other thing too that I would say, and this is something that I hope makes us different, is we develop every player on the roster.
Yeah.
Like, we work with every player on the roster. It's on every coach's mind all the time of how do we get this player better so they can make a more positive contribution. Like, there's a couple guys that are playing a lot that didn't really have great falls, but we outlined like this, and this. This is what we need you to do for you to be the best player you can be and positively impact winning this year. And they've come back and they've been able to check a lot of those boxes, and it's elevated them a little bit. And so we're just always going to develop all of them, but the credit really goes to the players for how they handle themselves. And one thing I think you'll notice is when somebody gets a chance, they're always ready. And that's just a sign of maturity for them.
Yep, absolutely, Coach. I appreciate you coming on as always. Good luck this week. I know I got Southeastern midweek, and then y'all get to be y'all back in the box this weekend for a home series. So looking forward to it. Good luck. Thank you again for coming on. As always, we enjoyed it. And as long as Lloyd doesn't scare you away, we're looking forward to having you on next week.
Look, I crushed you 2 for 2, Coach.
You did
back
good
in the lineup.
You did good today.
3 for 3 with
you
the
got,
boom.
You got some grins from him and everything. I appreciate it.
I know he's tired, so I'm working on that mush brain.
Enjoy your night,
I'll
Coach.
tell you what, it's as long as we keep him with 2.5 questions.
2.5 to cut off. I like that. Under that. Coach, enjoy your Monday, man. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Have a good one. See
See you later.